What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, and today let's continue with some more F1 2019 career mode. And as you guys can see, we are at the Principality of Monaco, home of the Monaco Grand Prix. You can also see we are very close to getting our rivalry done against George Russell. We are still getting our back end kicked by Butler. In terms of the upgrades, we did get that last cost reduction upgrade last time out, and as you can see in terms of the improvements of the other teams, Red Bull and Ferrari improved, the Milton Keynes team improved just a little bit more. We do have the McLaren team get very close to Haas, I believe that is, yes, and the Racing Point. All those teams are very close together as Alfa Romeo jumps 2 teams there, and we are still trying to play catch up. Our engine is fine, but the gearbox is starting to get a bit of issues. I don't like that yellowish tone on it. Of course, yeah, we might have issues. Of course, we just need to drive a bit more carefully, especially through the qualifying, but let's see how it goes. In terms of the standings, Lewis Hamilton is leading with exactly 100 points, 25 ahead of second placed Bottas, as we follow in a P16 with only 1 point, as Albon, Grosjean, Stroll and Russell haven't scored points just yet. In terms of the constructors, we are in last place with only 1 point, since Magnussen got 2 points at the Spanish Grand Prix. Moving to the practice session, we actually did very well. This setup, I took a time trial setup, and actually I feel like this is the best Monaco setup I've ever had in any car in any game. Of course, the car is still not very good, but given that the car is not very good, I felt like I could really push it. I could really be confident through most of the corners, even though I find it a little odd that to be fast around it, I sort of have to lock up the front inside tire into those first few corners of the second sector, but yeah, well, that's just details. We've gone very fast. I believe I was really confident in a good qualifying performance, and especially a good race pace. Getting back home after practice, we got a few points, almost 700 points, and I'm actually going to start developing that major front downforce part. Unfortunately, it's going to take 3 weeks because I don't have that upgrade on my contract. I don't have a level on the contract that allows me to reduce the week duration of the research and development for the major parts. But moving on to the qualifying session, coming to the end of Sector 2, we actually did purple, and I have absolutely no idea how we did that. We were doing a 112.7 as our best, 16th fastest at that point, and then we are going to improve by over a second. We cross over the line, 111.6. Purple last sector as well gets us up to P3, and I was honestly just flabbergasted. I was really not expecting this. I swear to God, I'm still on my legendary difficulty. I'm still in 102 AI. So yeah, look at that. We got 6th place at the end of the session, and this is a great sign for things to come, as Russell, Butler, Magnussen, Stroll and Albon get both knocked out of Q1. Moving to Q2, getting wrapped up with our first flying lap. It wasn't as good as we know that we could get. We are going to cross over the line, and we are going to post a 112.1, of course fastest because we were the first one to post a lap time. But I tried to stick with that lap time, but towards the end I was actually getting out of the top 10, and I really didn't want to get out there on the same set of tires to do another flying lap, but I thought, well, we're going to get a brand new set of tires for Q3, and even if you get worn out tires for the start, or a little bit more worn out tires, it's very hard to lose positions on this track, right? So we just went for it, got the lane Ep6 once again, even though we only got purple in the middle sector, and we got P7, as you guys can see there, as Norris, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Perez and Grosjean got out in Q2. So we beat both Haas, both Renaults, both Racing Points, both Toro Rossos, and our teammate. I think that's all of them. So yeah, we really did a good job there, and we're going to be able to get promoted to Q3 for the first time since, no, I think it's actually the first time. If I recall correctly, at Australia we got P11 or something. We got knocked out in Q2, I believe, in Australia. So you can see there, going for our flying lap. And we are really getting to Casino Square. We have Hamilton pressurizing us, so we can't really do any mistakes, even though Hamilton is on pole with a very good time, so I don't feel too bad about potential blockage of the British driver. I'm just trying my best. I'm driving the best I can as it gets to the middle of sector number 2, getting through the right-hander of Portier. Fortunately, we didn't pull off a Senna and bottled it there. Getting now through the tunnel, up through the gears, DRS. Well, not DRS, but ERS, up to mode number 4. Actually do very well there at the Novel Chicane. Now it's always a very tricky spot of the track. This Tabak, we are going to actually get through it very nicely indeed into the chicane. We are going to not pull off a Verstappen, not touch the wall whatsoever, and into the last corner into Cascas and Anthony Nog. We're actually going to bottle that last corner just a slight bit. That's going to cost us a few tenths. Nonetheless, we're going to cross over the line, 111.8. Probably that last corner was what separated us from the 111.6. Nonetheless, we still qualify in P8, which is great. Getting back home, we are going to, of course, get the comparison to Russell, very close to beating him. Still, of course, we beat Butler, but not enough to get nowhere close to his level or to his points that he scored so far. In terms of the R&D points, we aren't going to get too many of them. Of course, we did a great performance compared to the car, like the car performance versus our actual qualifying performance. We are going to get the maximum result of 100 points, which gets us to just under 200 points. So not enough yet to do anything with it. Let's get started with the Monaco Grand Prix.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars climb around 40 metres up through Beau Rivage, onto the casino, and then descending down towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners here, 7 to the left and 11 to the right. There's one single DRS zone as well, so don't expect that to make overtaking any easier today. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Gasly, Max Verstappen, and Faber, the rookie, Raikkonen, Norris, and Daniel Ricciardo. Vettel, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Perez, Romain Grosjean, and Albon. Stroll, Magnussen, Devon Butler, and Carlos Sainz. Russell and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, so let's get started with the race. Completing the formation lap is the first thing to do. We are going to go for a normal soft to medium strategy, pitting at about lap 11. Of course, our tires took a couple more laps than what I would prefer in qualifying, but hopefully we can manage them well during the race. To help with that, I actually went down on the fuel, -1 lap of fuel compared to what we need to get the race done. Even though it's Monaco, we can save fuel easily without losing pace. So hopefully everything goes our way. As we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. A good start from the front two, and look at Verstappen. Bad start from him. He's going to get the number 70 of Weber around the outside of Saint Devote. We are going to try to follow through as we go uphill. We are trying to stick our nose in there, but as we get to the top of it, through the Casino Square, we actually have to back out, and we are going to have to stay put in P7 for the time being. Of course, those guys are going to be very fast. We have Raikkonen, who's probably going to pressurize us for a long time for now as we approach the lows. Airpin, always an iconic shot as the cars try to squeeze past each other. We had a bit of a squabble there between, looked like Albon and Lance Stroll, but Stroll took the best of it and got himself the position from the Toro Rosso. And as guys will be able to see in a second, we got ourselves a few car lengths on Raikkonen, but we're also starting to lose ground to Verstappen. So those top 6 cars, they probably have that 1 or 2 laps fresher tires, and of course they have lighter chassis, they have more downforce aiding them as well, so their cars just perform better overall. There's not much we can do at these points. So we are going to just try to follow the best we can as we bottle until Anthony Nog once again. And we are going to see Lewis Hamilton get the fastest lap of the race, of course. Moving to lap number 2, as you can see to the right, to the left hand side, Raikkonen is going to have a go at us. We have to go deep to give him the space, and there are yellow flags. Ooh, there is a crash, a big crash.
Safety car, no overtaking, reduce your pace. Keep your delta number positive as we warm up. A new strategy is available on the MFT.
Well, I won't change tires, at least right away, but yeah, as you can see, safety car is deployed, and that was quite the pileup as Norris gets away right behind me in P8. But we're going to take a look at the replay as we go on board with the Finn. You can see I didn't touch him, I gave him more than the necessary space. He hits the rear tires on the inside wall there and spun. Both Norris and Vettel actually stopped the car on time, but look at Ricciardo, after smashing into the back of Weber at Spain, now smashes into the back of Vettel and just caused an absolute pileup. Look at that. Even more surprising than the pileup is that exact move from Hülkenberg. He just ghosted through everyone and he got himself up something like, I would say, 10 positions at the very least. He got himself up. There is also Albon or Butler with wing damage. He's going to have to pit for that one. And there was Vettel right behind the Toro Rosso. So the safety car is finally in the pits at the end of lap number 7, and we have green flag racing. Of course, I have to bottle Anthony Nog once again, get a bad exit, and we are just going to try to stick to the guys in front as long as we can. I don't think that's likely, especially up until that incident with Raikkonen. They had already at least a second on us. You can see Verstappen uphill, they are just much faster than us. I don't think there's much we can do to follow up, so at least we can try to sustain the pressure from Lando Norris right behind us. Of course, it's going to be a tough one, but Norris is on the medium tires, which is actually very important from us, and behind him is Hülkenberg, followed by Raikkonen, who somehow didn't get front wing damage in that spin, and after him in P11 we have our teammate George Russell, so he has the opportunity to get something come his way and maybe get his first points of the season. Jumping to lap number 9, going on board with the young British driver. He had a massive battle with Weber in the previous race, and now in this one he just decided to go into the wall. He didn't even lift off, didn't steer away from the wall. I don't know what he was doing, honestly. He just got himself in the wall and he got front wing damage from that. He has front wing damage in the right side of it. As you can see, that side end plate or side wall of the front wing, if you want to call it that, is missing now, as we lose the rear there. We do have the brake bias quite to the rear and the tires are starting to get worn out. He tries to get alongside us into Tabak. I don't think I touched him, but I didn't give him much space. I wasn't trying to, it's just very hard at Tabak, especially with our tires going downhill, and he hit the barrier a little bit more. I don't think he got more damage than what he already had, though. I didn't see any carbon fiber parts flying. And as you look now, there is Lewis Hamilton. He actually gets held up by the Ferrari of the own boy Charles Leclerc, and the Frenchman Pierre Gasly coming through actually held up the British driver of the Mercedes there as they begin lap number 12. We are going to come into the pits at the end of lap 11 as well, and we are going to be followed by the Finn Kimi Raikkonen. So he's going to do the same strategy as us, going to switch onto a set of the medium tires to take to the end. We are going to do the exact same. Very easy, clean pit stop, and both of us are on our merry way. Yeah, it didn't look like Raikkonen lost any time replacing his front wing. So yeah, he just hits the rear on that inside wall, and his front wing didn't hit anything or didn't get hit by any other car. So fortunately for him, he has that one on his side. We are going to come out of the pits in P19 and P20, but if you look to the minimap, there's a massive train, and if you looked carefully, Hamilton actually was further ahead than that train, and that's because Hamilton got out of the pits ahead of Norris. The leader of that train, who is now in P3, is Lando Norris with a broken front wing on medium tires. So he's going long on that one, and he's holding up at least 15 cars, and we finally get ourselves up to that pack. And Sainz has lost a little bit of ground to the others because Sainz is on hards. We find a way to get past Magnussen there. What a move! And you can see the proximity arrow turns white, but then he goes on our inside, which I think was pretty dumb. I really wasn't expecting him. We're going on board with the Dane, and at this point I don't think he's going to come back at us. I don't think he even deserves to be given space into that corner. I really wasn't expecting, sorry, I really wasn't expecting it, and he got himself front wing damage, which is rather unfortunate. So he's going to be holding up Kimi Raikkonen, who has a bad day, going worse for him, unfortunately. And we are going to now be able to pressurize Stroll and Sainz, as we're going to get Stroll gets the RS, but he's on harder tires, and we actually get better traction. We weren't able to pull the maneuver off, but I did try to get a better exit. Mode number 4 of ERS going uphill, just to get more horsepower through the hill climb. But as we arrive to the Casino Square, we actually find a bit of a gap, and unlike Magnussen, into the braking zone, we braked a little bit later, but we got our front tire to his side pod. That's much more alongside, and that's why Stroll was forced to give us the place. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, up to P15 we go, and crucially for us, Sainz was losing time to the cars ahead, and he is on the hard tires. So yeah, you can see we are quite underfueled, as you guys can see. So we do have an opportunity to also save a bit of fuel. But we are going to complete this lap on board with us. You can see just following Sainz, getting a bit of dirt here, which is always dangerous. Of course, I'm running a time trial setup. I don't even think I did even any minor adjustments. Maybe the front brake bias, it was 52, I brought it down to 54. So yeah, really not many changes. I'm comfortable with the car as it is. Of course, it's now heavy with fuel. To get a better exit out of the last corner, we're going to get alongside Sainz, who was on harder tires, doesn't have as much powerful of an engine, and also didn't get the RS. And we had to get a bit of wheel banging. We forced our way through. Nonetheless, we now have clean air up to Daniel Ricciardo, who we eventually catch up to at the end of lap 29. As you can see, Norris finally gets into the pits, our teammate gets into the pits, Ricciardo gets in the pits as well, and we get promoted to P10. And unfortunately for us, of course, these other drivers can see on the mini-map, there's already the Monegasque Charles Leclerc already pulling away from the group. Now the leader of the group in P4 is Weber, with Vettel right behind him. Then he has Gasly, then it's Perez and Verstappen, and after that Grosjean and ourselves closing the top 10. We are also managing to pull away from Sainz, who's still struggling a little bit on those hard tires. So I guess it is what it is, just trying to do the best at what he can. He got involved in that very early pile-up, and instead of going for mediums, take them to the end, he actually felt safer going on the hards. There you have it, we lose one of the gears, unfortunately for us, and Grosjean is going to pull off into the pits, but we don't know which gear we are missing now, and we almost spin because we actually lost gear 2, and the engineer didn't told us. Maybe a patch, maybe something. It would be rather useful if Jeff told us which gear we missed, because I could have bottled it right there. Fortunately, I kept the car under control, and in a couple laps I was right to the back of Verstappen. I was able to sit behind him for a few laps, get the RS, save some fuel. As you can see, we are already on a surplus of fuel, and we are going to be pressurizing these two. Now the thing is, Perez is on hard tires, if I remember correctly, and Verstappen is not really able to overtake him. He does have more downforce, he does have a better chassis, but he has the Honda power unit, which is not as strong as the Mercedes power unit on the back of Perez, so he tried to go for the switch back there, brake later, we get ourselves on his side pod, we don't touch him, but he does go too wide and hits the wall, and I believe he has damage on the left side of his front wing. I really didn't want that one to happen, but I was kind of forced to put the cars on the table there, because of course Verstappen would never overtake Perez for the reasons I mentioned a bit ago. So yeah, we really had to get past Verstappen. If you wanted to get past Perez, we couldn't just follow Verstappen through the Mexican, right? So I got myself on knees inside, I didn't touch him, and unfortunately he didn't close in the trajectory as much as he probably should, or I guess he actually went into the throttle too early and understeered into the wall, got damage, even though he still has the chassis and the aerodynamics to keep up with us, and we also get an opportunity to get past Perez, which we are going to try to capitalize on as we start lap number 32 and lap 31. Of course, the top 6 has already pulled away considerably, but we are going to try to get a better exit. Mode for a VRS, rich mix, DRS on Perez, but of course, even with the slipstream, he gets the Mercedes power unit boost, and nonetheless, he does lock up, and Verstappen is going to try to take a look at this inside, ultimately cannot do that, and that was just the end of it, at least up until lap 38, where Perez was doing rather well to maintain Verstappen Verstappen behind him and keep up with me. He lost drive, as you guys can see, just lost the power. There's no smoke, so I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe the car just got stuck in second, I don't know, but something catastrophic happened to him, and unfortunately, at the track where he had success on, I believe it was in 2015, he had an unexpected podium finish, so yeah, this time around Monaco not giving him the best of luck, and he was racing in points. Unfortunately, he has to give up on it with the DNF with 2 laps to go, so we are going to jump now to the last lap, and there you have it. Lewis Hamilton just crucially didn't get held up by Norris after the pit stop, and both Mercedes just pulled off to the distance, easy peasy, lemon squeezing. There you have it. Lewis Hamilton is going to cross over the line to take home the win of the Monaco Grand Prix. It's going to be a 1-2 for Mercedes once again, and we were able to fend off Verstappen through those last 2 laps, and are going to claim P7 a best career finish.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in park for the night.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
There you have it. Once again, 1-2 for Mercedes. Homeboy Charles Leclerc, unfortunately, after the pit stops, got stuck behind Lando Norris. Couldn't get past him, so of course it's Monaco. And yeah, just the win to the Mercedes team just ended over like that, just because of the stubbornness of Norris. So we're going to get to the final results. Weber in P4 splitting the Ferraris there. We split the Red Bulls, and Carlos Sainz, driver of the day, from 18th to 9th, and as we come further down, Russell also 19th to 4th, but as you look further down, his teammate Lando Norris, exactly the opposite, which I find quite amusing. 9th to P18 to Lando Norris. Sergio Perez was the only driver to not complete the Grand Prix, so unfortunate for the Racing Point driver, especially, this is going to be on his way for points. In terms of the standings, Hamilton of course extends his lead, and we climb up to P13 as we now claim 7 points total. Albon also getting the first points, not Albon but Stroll getting the first points of his season, gets himself up a few places. In terms of the constructors, Alfa Romeo jumps past McLaren, 3 points ahead of the Woking base team, and we also jumped both Haas and Toro Rosso as we now claim 7 points to our name. Getting back home, of course we're going to get the comparisons to our rivals. We smacked both Russell and Butler today, which is great. So we won the rivalry against Russell, caught up a little bit to the Toro Rosso driver. Going to collect the points, of course. Race position versus qualifying position, we won't get the maximum 100 points because we started P7. We qualified P8 but started P7 and finished P7. At least we didn't lose any positions there, which is great. But we did get the bonus, the team bonus points and the rivalry 1 point, so it's actually pretty great. 850 points just from those 2 bonuses alone. And as you're going to follow through to the R&D department, you are going to get that rear downforce minor upgrade to Canada, and I wanted to get that drag, but unfortunately I already have that major front wing department, and on the contract I don't have the simultaneous development that's leveled up to get 3 parts right away. So I decided to spread the wealth a little bit and decided to get myself weight reduction upgrade fitted into the car. Also, I praised the chassis a little bit in the interviews post-race, so we get a little bit of a discount. It's not 500 points, it's 483, which helps a little bit. And also into durability, these races, the ICE really takes a knock on them. Like my ICE, my first ICE is already at over 50%. That's why I've been using the second engine, so that's going to definitely help us at least contain the high rate of wear that component gets throughout the season. So this is it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Hit the bell icon for any notifications of whenever we are about to start a live stream or to post a video. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.